Everybody, we are back. It is Taped Online's favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course Panda Subs discount code TDL for 35% off here, guys. All right, so we're doing we're kind of starting the draft process here, man. This is the start of our actual draft process. We did the Senior Bowl, covered the Senior Bowl quarterbacks. So now we're going to deep dive into the Raiders. Actually have a pretty high first round pick. We didn't have to trade it away this year. I mean, they did have a 7 last year, so kind of the same thing a little bit. Just talk about trading up. So we're going to start looking at what people, most people believe is the biggest need on this team is quarterback. Yeah. All right, I know there's some Aiden O'Connell believers out there, but I mean, he didn't put out the production, and maybe, I don't know, maybe Luke Getsy does like Aiden. We don't know that yet, but we're going to assume that they are in the hunt for a quarterback. So what we're doing, we got JJ McCarthy, Matt. He's got the JJ McCarthy breakdown. I got Jayden Daniels. I'm ready to give you their thoughts on both those guys. So a couple things first. We got the Daniel Jeremiah saying there's 45 teams looking to trade up because the quarterbacks next year are garbage. That is my interpretation. That's my translation. It's not exactly what it says, but
I mean, DJ did say like teams are down on the quarterback class next year, and like this is like for like I feel like the last basically since like last year's draft ended, like people have been propping up these quarterbacks ever since, and I mean some of them rightfully so. So
yeah, and then the main surprise with Jayden Daniels just kind of jumped into it. I mean. Let's talk about the summer is Joe Milton. Joe Milton's QB3 in the summer, guys. So, and the other guy, JJ McCarthy, who has a chance to rise up, I think, a lot, and sneak into the top 10 himself, was an afterthought too. But even though he always caught my eye when I was watching other Michigan players, just the things he would do because he just had so much talent. They just didn't throw. So every once in a while, 12 minutes into the tape, I'm like, wow, that's a nice throw. And then I didn't realize they were throwing. So that's the big thing with JJ. It's like my Ohio State breakdown's 9 minutes. The other one I did the other day, and that was me chopping half of every single throw. So I did every single throw for the members. It was 20 minutes, so chop it in half. It was 9. So it was a great quick breakdown for JJ. But yeah, so we're talking about both these guys that are risers. So what are your thoughts on JJ before we get into the film? Like, what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it'd been I've been watching JJ or McCarthy a little bit, throughout the season, especially with that national championship run, but I hadn't really studied him since the summer. And I mean, he grew on me a lot from the summer. I think he made a lot of strides. 2022 was his first year as a starter, and he didn't even begin any year as a starter. If you guys remember, like he had that, Michigan did that weird thing where he started like the first game. Cade McNamara, I want to say, started the second, and then they ended up going with McCarthy for the rest of the year. But yeah, plenty of arm talent. I think there's definitely a lot of things in this game where his like inexperience and lack of stars kind of shows up, namely like seeing the field and a little bit like that. And that was kind of the biggest thing. I think he can get stuck on his first read a little bit too much every now and again, but plenty of arm talent. Probably one of the better guys at throwing on the run. I got about 3 or 4 clips on here of him throwing on the run, and like what impresses me the most is not only does he stay accurate, but his velocity like barely drops off when his feet aren't set. And like that's kind of, and we'll see that a little bit today. But yeah, plenty of arm talent. There's a lot to work with. Like I said, not a complete player, still a young quarterback who I think needs some time to kind of like figure it out and start throwing with like more anticipation and that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
definitely a dude who you can see like the way there's a lot of tools, and they get, the stat nerds aren't gonna like him as much because he doesn't have the pretty numbers that a lot of these other guys do, especially someone like Jayden Daniels does. Mm-hmm. But I think if you're a film buff, you're gonna like him a lot more, and I think that's why we're hearing a little bit about the league being higher on McCarthy than guys like Bo Nix and Michael Penix, where he's got plenty of talent and there's a lot of potential, a lot to work with. And again, I think I talked about it with Penix and Nix. McCarthy is only like 21, 22, still young, still fresh, and only 3 years in college versus 6 to kind of figure it out for those other two guys. So lots of light for sure.
Yeah, McCarthy's the secret riser to me. I think McCarthy too. His personality might gravitate people too. I think he's just an interesting person too as well,
Yeah.
and he's tough. He's tough. You can just tell how tough he is on film. He's not scared to take a hit in the pocket. He'll you know what I'm saying, and he'll throw it while taking that hit, and that's one thing I really like about him. So those things you can work on, and he worked the middle of the field really well. Outside the numbers is where it gets goofy with him, but. Yeah, there's a lot to like. Yeah, you're right, man. Outside when he gets out of the pocket, man, whew, he can do some
Yeah.
crazy throws. And of course, I did Jayden Daniels. So Jayden Daniels, he's already in the top 3 here. You look check out every mock draft. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right. Like, and it might go that way. We'll see how that goes. But the Patriots are rumored by Dan Graciano of ESPN. Talking about how the league is talking, during their, the last time they were at the Senior Bowl and we're having some drinks together and they're talking. So somebody let him know that the Patriots are looking to trade out here, and that could be an option.
Bill's shadow still lurks. Bill's shadow still works in New England.
Yes, it does. But the Raiders have to worry about the Vikings and the Falcons, which is one thing, because he didn't mention the Raiders in the article. I see that on Twitter. People are like rolling with that article there. He didn't mention the Raiders, though. He just mentioned the Vikings and the Falcons as 2 teams that he could see trying to trade up. So that's an interesting thought process of that, because Jayden Daniels would probably have to move up for him. I just think the buzz and him winning the Heisman and how explosive he is, and watching Lamar Jackson kind of dominate this year, and then seeing how he plays pretty good from the pocket, I don't think he's going to fall out of that spot. Him and Drake May are going to be fighting for that. I don't know. Maybe JJ McCarthy can jump them, because maybe some guys dive into the film like I do with Jayden Daniels, and you can see some stuff that may worry you a little bit, which I'm going to show. But yeah, so I think this process is still really early. I'm going to say that. This is a real early process for like these coaches to see how some of these guys work and how some of the things they do. And that's why I think JJ McCarthy has a chance to really rise more than people want. And we have these weird Twitter conversations about it.
Yeah. I feel like JJ McCarthy too, like, again, because he's so young and inexperienced, like after the combine, if he like does really well in the meetings and gets up on the whiteboard and like kind of impresses with his football knowledge for being so young, he'll start getting a little bit more of a bump in the mock drafts and in the insiders with all the whispers and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, because I even think CJ Stroud's success plays into his success a little bit. His kind of not his success, but seeing how he could come into the NFL and what he could do, and if he is smart enough. I mean, he's not CJ Stroud. I was watching that breakdown he did. That dude's a savant. I don't know what.
Yeah,
he's like. Well, actually, I just forgot to read. Yeah, I just forgot what the actual read was, and I saw based on the leverage of this guy. I was like, what are you talking about?
That was
first of all.
Watching that.
He's like, but I knew based on like, and this is all like in 2 seconds. He's reading this field like this, which I thought was crazy. But he was breaking it down like that. So I don't know if we're ever going to find a guy like that, but I think McCarthy, seeing his outlook and what you could build around a guy year one, gives him a little bit of a step up too, a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's probably like I said, a little bit more of my concern with JJ McCarthy is like he's definitely not a guy that like I'm seeing like go through his progressions really quickly and like make a bunch of reads and quickly walk off guys. If anything, he looks at his first read too long and too much. But yeah, again, if he can prove it on the whiteboard a little bit better, then I think he'll get a boost.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to ask you before we get into the film, one more question. When you watched this film, did you see him throw like how many go balls or like deep balls did he throw when you watched him on film? Because it's like, yeah, there's some throws downfield, but it's not like you know what I mean?
Not that many, like not like a lot of the other guys, not like Penix or Nix, who kind of like they have their guy that they would see, their Roma Dunze or Troy Franklin, where they would just see them one-on-one and just chuck it up. Like he doesn't like he doesn't push it outside the numbers that much, except when he's on the run. When he gets on the run is when he kind of like pushes it. I guess it wouldn't be a go back route at that point because the scramble drill is when he would push it downfield a little bit more. But
yeah. All right. I wonder if that's Harbaugh or Harbaugh not having these super deep concepts or something like that too. So that's interesting.
They ran a good amount of Yankee stuff, but not like just straight four verts like you see in a lot of college offenses. But I know with like Jayden Daniels, like I know one of the concerns or issues with him like is deep accuracy, so that might be part of it too. Is if it's not like a a great great part of his game, then maybe he's not taking as many deep shots as some of these other dudes.
That's true. All right, so who should we do? You know what? We did so much JJ McCarthy already this week. I'm gonna do some Jayden. Let's just get a Jayden here. All right, so basically we're gonna go over his whole game, basically, kind of not his whole game, but kind of. So we're gonna start off with short passes. All right. So it's kind of show off his quick release here, how he reads short passes. Kind of show that he can run the quick passing game if you need it, right, from the pocket, which I really like. He has a quick release. See right here, quick release right there. And of course, this guy gets his eyes off the ball and drops it, but you see how he read it. So I'll take it back one more time. Now I like how he reads his post snap and just isn't like, I'm throwing to this guy, right?
Yeah.
He read it first, and when this, it looks like they're in cover 3. So when this curl flat player comes down here, he's able to throw it behind him. He would have got some yak, but
Yeah.
All right, so kind of similar concept. Basically, these kind of stick concepts. They like this is kind of the pro passing concepts they have. So you see, what would Josh McDaniels would call this tosser, and then you got sticks on the other side, right? And you see it once again. He waits for that guy to read it. He could have threw this flat already here, right? He probably should have thrown to the flat technically based on the corner blitz, but I like how he knew that guy was going to go there. I'm going to give it to my playmaker Malik Neighbors instead, and then he's going to go get
Damn.
Also, I just want to say, man, I think there's a conversation to be had if Malik Neighbors is better than Marvin Harrison Jr. There's a conversation.
Ooh,
I don't know if it's true
spicy.
or not, but it's a conversation. There's a combo.
Spicy. I like
For
it.
me, man. That dude is explosive. All right. Anyways, so here, more short passing here, kind of similar concept. But you see just a quick release that he has. He can run these quick slants, catch and throw, RPO type passes, and he's accurate too in these areas. And you see the quick release, gets rid of that ball super quick. It just lets him fit the quick passing game as well. So he looks good, man. He looked pretty good. All right, so intermediate too. He can make these middle of the field throws. I know. I heard it's a little bit of a knock on him. That maybe he doesn't throw a lot, but you saw a lot of these against Missouri. See that throw right there. He's got the 2 verticals at the bottom. Quick release. I like how the quick hit. I like how he doesn't waste too many hitches here.
Yeah.
Just get rid of that ball right there on the money. Allows yak. Like I said, I'm telling you, man, Neighbors is he's a monster, dude. All right. So I like this one here too. How he kind of, you'll see on this one how he gets to safety here to turn this way, right? And like if you tell by the hashes, the the college football is so much wider. He knows how much area he's gonna have based on the covers that are running, right?
Yeah.
And he comes backside here and hits Neighbors right there over the middle, brings it to the middle, and then Neighbors, does his thing and makes like 8 guys miss. And so that was one thing when I was watching this too, is like, man, you are playing with Malik Neighbors. And I think that has to be put in here a little bit. Because Neighbors is open like every single play, man. It's crazy.
And I feel like you can tell he trusts him because he keeps looking he just glances his way and finds him. You know what I mean? Like he's not even like staring him down.
It's even like that's what I'm saying. Like he should have probably, if he just went step hitch, he could have hit the seam right now based on where that safety is.
Yeah.
But he wants to go to Neighbors. So he comes back here and it's a good throw under pressure though. And you see the arm strength, like he has basically the same amount of arm strength I would say CJ Stroud has. So it's maybe not amazing, but it's good arm strength.
Yeah.
And he can make that type of throw. Don't lose a lot of velocity on it. That's what I'm saying. This was claiming a little bit of a knock on him, but I really think he can make these intermediate passes like this one here. It's a good read by him. And I think when he is decisive, right, everything comes out really well. It's a nice throw over the top. The guy dropped it again. Number 2. He's not having a good film session here. But you see the accuracy over the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say he's has great accuracy, but it's good accuracy. to all levels of the field. It's pretty equal. He has good deep accuracy.
Gotcha.
I would say actually great, good short accuracy. And then what I like here is he anticipates outside routes really well.
Yeah.
He can get a little better anticipating inside routes, and that's how you get a beat zone in the NFL is doing that. But
Mhm.
these outside routes, he does a really good job. You see where he's throwing this ball. That guy's not even close to be out of his
Yeah.
break, and then it's right on the money.
That's where I think his experience starts to show a little bit. Is anticipating stuff that's open.
Mm-hmm. It's just and this is consistent on film. He does this consistently. This is a consistent thing. Outside the numbers, he anticipates really well. It's just the middle of the field, NFL. That's where anticipation. That's where the real anticipators separate themselves because that's how you beat zone coverage. So here we go on this one. You see on this outside route here. See how early he's throwing his football. Not even out of his break yet. And a lot of these are to neighbors, like the last two are. So it might be a little bit of them working together, but that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's still on film that he shows that ability to do that. And just neighbors is just open all the time. I was made a joke on Twitter, but it would bother people. But I said I was wanted to trade up for Malik Neighbors after watching Jayden Daniels film. Can't let the Chargers get this guy, man. We cannot let the Chargers get this guy. All right. So here, and then you kind of see him going through the reads here. There's not a lot of him going through progressions, but I mean, when he had to, you do see some elements of it right here. Like he comes down to this lower one. He does get to the check down pretty well as well. But it's not consistent type of thing. But you do see it on film. You see him be able to read this one and then throw it past the linebacker here too. A nice accurate pass, gives him some yak. So yeah. But probably the best thing he does as a thrower is throw deep. I think he completed 63% of his deep passes through 22 touchdowns. Passes over 20 yards. So if that just tells you one thing of how he throws the ball deep, and you just see it's just beautiful moonshot after moonshot.
That was a nice ball.
Yeah.
I like to the reset of the feet here, get squared, one hitch and go.
Mm-hmm. Everything I like about him, how quick he gets rid of that ball. Great release.
Yeah.
You see it backside here. Right, reset your feet. Right on the money. Touchdown. Malik Neighbors. this is a Malik Neighbors highlight show too. Yeah, you just running past people. I just don't know why nobody's gonna double team him. Who's gonna double team Malik Neighbors? Was he this good as a junior or as a sophomore?
Neighbors?
Yeah.
I think he was good, just not at this level.
Yeah,
he was like notable, but not. He kind of burst on the scene this year.
So here's him.
Play.
Yeah, basically. But I think it's different alignments this time, I think. So we'll watch it. But this is another beautiful moonshot here. And Malik Neighbors just running right past somebody. By like 6 yards. Are we sure? Anyways, this is his deep passes. 22 touchdowns on throws over 20 plus yards. 63% completion percentage. And then this is this beautiful fade route here on the slot fade from the red zone. So once again, Malik Neighbors.
The anticipation too.
Yeah, and then the placement. It's the placement for me too.
Yeah, the back shoulder throw.
Right there on the money. He did this. He threw this exact throw twice in this game. That's how precise he is with these deep passes. And then, of course, Neighbors is a freak and gets put down. All right. And then this one is a little bit of foreshadowing here. We're doing some foreshadowing on this one. So he's hitting Neighbors here. Of course, Neighbors is going to make an incredible catch on the sideline. It's also probably his best throw on film on the sideline. But we have number one just wide open. So I just want to... But, we're going to trust Neighbors and just look at the placement of this throw, man. Look at that.
And that's good coverage. There was not a lot of room to put that ball. And he dropped it right in the bucket and a hell of a catch by Neighbors.
So that's when you have Luke Getsy and he wants to throw deep. This is what you want right here. This guy. off play action, throwing deep. And of course, this is why you came to the show, is him running the football, which is pretty damn special. I'm just saying he is special with the ball in his hands, like Lamar Jackson type stuff. Special. You see here, like, oh, this doesn't look like a touchdown, but it's going to be one, right? Oh, he just runs past that guy, runs past this one, says that tackle, touchdown. Oh. Who's number 8 though, man? Number 8, move it. Where do you is he a defensive linebacker? Who's that?
Is that maybe Hopper?
He's moving, man. Anyways, all right. So here's another one. You can. This one is I believe it's QB counter. It looks like. No, actually, just split zone here.
Oh yeah, that was Hopper.
And this one is hilarious because then he jumps over somebody and then starts to run for a good 30, 40 yards. So keep it. Jump over your man on the ground, and then accelerate. So, I mean, he's a freak with the ball in his hand. It's freakish type stuff. Once again, QB draw. I can't even show the Florida one because I'm not trying to get us a copyright strike. The Florida one is the craziest one. But here is this one. You're noticing he's not sliding though, which I'm going to highlight in a second. And yeah, it's consistent. All right, so those are all the design runs you could do with them. So now let's watch him scramble. All right, so here's quick pressure. Just get out of the pocket and let's go for 60.
Goddamn.
Yeah, I mean, this is why, like, even when I'm about to point out some of his negatives, like, you watch this and you see all the other stuff that he could do.
Yeah,
he just adds this element to it.
Is he a guy that drops his eyes though when he starts to scramble?
Yeah. He does. He doesn't make a lot of plays outside of the scrambling. He drops his eyes, which I'm going to highlight later a little bit too. So here we go. Here's another one. He just spins out, and what he does at 32 here is just wrong.
Oh boy. 32. Just watch 32's reaction. He's legit looking at his ankles, like making sure they're attached.
I think he tore something.
We're good. All right.
Could you imagine his film session? I would. Oh my god.
Oh my. Oh, the sniper.
But then the big hit, which I'm gonna highlight that in a second, but we'll get there. And of course here, you send a blitz, and this is what I'm talking about. You'll see where he doesn't pick his head up, right? He's already decided he's gone. He's not looking downfield at all. I mean, I believe there's somebody like coming open on this side, but nope. And he just doesn't slide. Which every time I watch him on film, which I'm gonna talk about this before I really get into it. I just watch him taking another huge hit there, and especially watch it right here on this play. Every time I watch him on film, number 13 comes in for like 4 plays. So it kind of shows you how many hits he's taking and how it's affecting him, right? And over a 17 game season, it's a little different than playing 12 or even 13. I mean, they're done after 12, right? He's got 5 more games of these type of hits because he was out the game after that.
Yeah,
he missed a couple plays versus Alabama, and that was a close game. And here's what are you gonna say, Mike? Go ahead.
I was gonna say he's such a lean build too.
Like, yeah, and look at this hit, man. Like he gets hit right here, and I'm gonna point out where he could slide on this one. So right here, slide.
Yeah, definitely.
So boom, right there in the thigh. And it's just gonna add up with that frame that he has. All right. So my main issue though with Daniels is, even though we saw some good reads and some good plays, I question how he sees the field overall. Like it's very inconsistent, and he takes a lot of sacks. All right. So that's going to be the downfall when he comes to the NFL. And then you're going to, you're older type of player too. We got to wait for you to develop to actually see things and play the quarterback position a little bit better. So because he's got a full on blitz here, right? They're all basically, they look like there's a bunch of guys coming. This guy's just to drop back, right? Or actually twist inside. And so what happens is this guy's wide open on the smash route. He's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody around him. There's not even anybody over here. And instead, he panics and he takes a sack.
Yeah.
So you see here, right here. I mean, he just has to step up. He can just toss it to the guy. He can do a little toss. It doesn't have to be a hard throw, strong throw. It's like a 3-yard pass, right? But instead, he like tries to make a play, I guess, and make these guys miss. He drops his eyes. Sack. Unnecessary. All right, and here again gets Texas A&M because Texas A&M, they were seeing a lot of pressure at him, right? And I think he's under pressure the most in this game, and you saw a lot more of this right here. So he does a pump fake here, and it's supposed to come backside right to this dig. There's Malik Neighbors making this dude look silly. I'm telling you, Neighbors is ridiculous. Yeah. Right, making him turn around, and he's wide open. I have no idea why Jayden Daniels is not throwing this ball. He's looking at him.
That's the one you got to rip.
You got to let it rip and say he takes a sack. So that's the biggest question. Like against like blitzing, yeah, he did have good numbers against the blitz overall, but it's just when teams are giving you more exotic looks, giving you NFL type of looks, I mean, you kind of could see the difference here. Yeah, because he's got to let this ball rip, and I don't know, maybe it's the pressure. He's just worried about the pressure so much. He dropped his eyes. He's got to step up in the pocket right here. He's got a clean pocket. Step up. Let it rip to Neighbors, who knows if he scores for that much room. I bet he does. I'm betting he does. All right, here you go. So here's another one. I mean, this is him trusting Neighbors a little bit too on this one, but it's kind of like you got this middle of the field. You can kind of see he's about to run like a kind of a crosser here. You see how open this middle of the field is. You see this guy. He's trying to come across and get Neighbors because he sees Neighbors about to be wide open, right? And they kind of bump into each other. But two's just wide open. And Neighbors looks open. I mean, he is open technically, but number two is still back here. He's going to do a good job of turning around and getting there. And that ball is just not good enough either. So, I mean, that one's a little bit nitpicky, I would say, but that dude was wide open. If he just reads the field correctly, then it's a big, easy play, right? Instead of trying to find Neighbors, if that makes sense. So on this one, kind of same thing. This is Neighbors again. This safety is so focused on his tight end. I mean, boom, there it is. And he hasn't thrown the ball. And he takes a sack. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing that pops up the most on film is this. It's like, he lets that rip, man. And he's accurate too, man. That's a touchdown to me for him. So
could it also just go to the check down and let his guy win in space?
Mm-hmm. Which you can tell you thought about it. You see, watch him think about it. Watch. I'm gonna try to run. Wow. And then get smashed. He's smashed here. That's what I'm talking about. Boom. Game. And that's the thing with him. So yeah. So I mean, he's an interesting guy to watch, I would say. And I think I do believe that he still should go like top 10 or wherever he should go, but just a little bit of concerns overall. But there's so many other good parts of it where he is hitting those type of plays. It's just I guess sometimes when you're sometimes as a quarterback, when they're playing quarterback, when they see things late, especially a guy like him, and they're like, "Oh, I'm late." I'm like, "Let me go." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That type of thing, instead of staying calm and trying to figure out something else. But you're a check down Charlie, you're late. You always find the check down. So that's the difference here. So, but there's a lot of great things I like though on that film. You know what I mean? Especially the athleticism, the dynamic. He can make every throw on the field. He can make 15-yard outs, 20-yard seams. He can do every single throw. You see him doing every single throw from the pocket. You see the quick release. You see him, kind of has quick decisions on some of those deep throws too, on those deep seam routes. So there is a lot to like and a lot to work with. He's like every other playmaking quarterback that I know, and it's gonna be 50 sacks.
Yeah.
It's basically it. Yeah. So,
gotcha.
I don't know.
Should we move on to some JJ McCarthy?
Let's move on. Let's get it.
Sounds good. All right. Awesome. All right. So I did things a little bit the opposite of you. I started with a few running plays and working my way back to the passing ones. So I definitely think that's a big part of JJ McCarthy's game. Like we can see right here, Michigan runs a little read op near the goal line. See the athleticism here to make that safety miss. Nice little jab step, runs through, and he's definitely not afraid to tuck it to drop that shoulder and score and find the end zone. Probably like to see him avoid that at the next level. But one thing I think we'll see with a couple of these, especially this clip right here, like I feel like he has like a nose for the end zone for a running back or for a quarterback, excuse me, like being able to score and whatnot, at least as a runner. Again, kind of similar here. Same move, adds a little stiff arm, and then beats the guy to the corner for the end zone. We'll still see how tight he gets here on the end zone copy. Like, doesn't leave a ton of room to spare, but again, just good enough to punch it in. This one, we're actually going to get him. This one, he's actually going to make a play from the pocket, off of a pass. I think it's, what do we got? Second and long here. So Michigan State dials up the blitz. We got the guard missing the stunt pickup. Again, nice move to make that guy miss. That's one thing, and like we'll see it a little bit better from the end zone view. Like just watching those few clips that you're showing of Jayden Daniels, that's where one thing where I think JJ McCarthy like has a leg up. Like you'll see this, he's gonna run here, but like you can see like as he's working flat down the line of scrimmage, he's still looking to throw the ball. He's got his eyes down the field. Now maybe hit that check down right there, but he also has the athletic ability to go pick it up himself. So I think that's probably something that he probably has over Daniels right now, and he's a little bit better of like keeping his eyes downfield or keeping his eyes up while scrambling. And then too, he can still make plays. Not quite as fast as Daniels, but definitely can run a little bit. The other thing that I really stood out to me about JJ McCarthy's film is he's pretty accurate, which is one area that I think he's grown a lot in over the last year. And he's really good at keeping the ball away from defenders. Like you'll see on this throw, we'll see it even better from the end zone copy, how close this was to being a PBU. But like he knows he's got his tight end on the seam. Nice little window here between 3, maybe call it 4, with this linebacker dropping in coverage, and puts it perfectly on the back shoulder to kind of keep it away from that guy, and throws it with enough velocity too. Like we'll see the arm strength. See a few plays later on that kind of highlight that, but I mean, can't put it more perfect than that. An inch the other way, and that's an incompletion. An inch either way is probably an incompletion. So, hell of a ball. See a similar one here, and what I like about this one too is we're going to watch this outside slot receiver versus this outside nickel corner. Is like if you notice this nickel corner, he's going to be playing with outside leverage to start the snap, which is where he should be. But then right here, he kind of starts overplaying his leverage a little bit, and so inside. And what I like too is like you can see right now, McCarthy's already letting it rip. Is even though this corner is slightly out of place and not where he should be, so not where he's probably trained to be, he sees it and makes the adjustment, and then puts it on the back shoulder for the tight end, so that his guy can use his body to shield off that defender, and then go score. Like again, we'll see it from this angle. That was something that really stood out to me. Is like, wow, not only is he keeping the ball away from the defenders, but he's also adjusting to what he can see, so that again, we get our big tight end out there so he can box that little DB out. Moving on to a little bit of the arm strength. This is probably the least impressive clip that's out here, but nice little rip. Nice thrown on a nice tight rope in between 2 levels here off some play action. Again, not the most impressive throw, but kind of just wanted to include it to show a little bit of that velocity and how much speed he can put on the ball. Again, plenty of arm talent from McCarthy here. All right, so this one, I'll let it run real quick. I mean, he throws that he threw it from the 40. I think he's going to catch it about the 5-ish show. We'll call it the 10. So about 50 air yards, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
To go from about 38, catches it at the 8. You can see the arm strength. Now, if you're watching and seeing the receiver have to slow up a little bit and question why I'm talking about his arm strength here, this is a little bit of what I'm concerned about with McCarthy is right now at the latest. You can see as I struggle to pause it at the right spot. Right now, and this is the latest I'm talking to. Right now, this ball should be let go, and he should let this rip. But as we can see, he's not even rearing back yet at this point.
Nope.
So again, it's not an arm strength issue for sure. Plenty of arm talent. It's just a matter of timing and anticipation a little bit. That I think is his biggest weakness right now, and I think that's the biggest difference between a guy like him and Daniels. Daniels is a guy that has been around for 6 years. I think was started for 4 years at Arizona State, and obviously started these last couple at LSU, whereas McCarthy's literally just started for 1.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, my note was just rope. Yep.
Yeah, I love this throw.
We got Michigan State in I think this cover 3 with the linebacker carrying, and linebacker doesn't even have a chance.
No.
The only time he knew this pass was coming was when he heard the seams ripping through his ear hole. So, we'll see it again.
Yeah.
Even that was a better anticipation.
Yeah. So this is it. I was about to say that this one he does have pretty good anticipation on this one.
Yeah. This one he anticipated because he just saw the white linebacker with his back turned and let it rip.
He's easy.
Yeah, it's like,
oh, right on the money too.
Nice ball. Going to the national championship. Again, another nice little tight window throw here. Also, you can see it again. Not quite as good as the other ones, but puts it on the back shoulder, keeps it away from this guy. Again, you can see the velocity. Like, he was definitely you could tell he's definitely a little bit of a baseball player in his background. He's got a little bit of shortstop to him. We'll see that a little bit once we get to a few of his throws on the run. But yeah. He throw it with some heat, man. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, here. So this one's another one that I kind of wanted to highlight because, again, I think it shows his strength and his weaknesses at the same time. Like I was talking about, not the best at seeing the field. Mm-hmm. Minnesota brings a blitz. Should probably throw into the blitz here and hit this check down. I think this is like 1st and 10. So we'll take you know what I mean? Like if he throws a completion here, we'll take that all day. I mean, this guy might even score with the miscommunication here. But we will take touchdowns while you're taking a shot any day of the week.
Yeah.
So gets away with it. Again, I think that's something he's got to prove is seeing the field a little bit better. But hey, at least we can know he can throw while taking a shot. Now this one 3rd and long, so I'm not as disappointed about him or not worried about him turning down these couple open check downs. But again, we can see he gets the pressure, throws on the run, and this is what I'm talking about. Where like
this throws nuts, yeah.
Like this looks almost as fast as the ones where he has his feet in the ground. I mean, beautiful. Like that's a rope on the run. I love my boy here. Like, look at 78 in the background on the sideline. Like he knows it. Like, watch right up here at the top.
Yeah, first time.
I'm gonna make that call for you right now, ref. Yeah, same kind of thing. I do think he is also a little quick to bail out of the pocket. Like he ended up being right because the pressure ended up coming through, but probably could have sat in there for another half second or so. But even so, if he can make throws on the run, we'll take that all the time.
Oh yeah, this one's dope.
Yeah, same thing basically. We've seen, I don't know, 4 or 5 clips now of him just evading rushers. Like he can move in the pocket. And I think that's, we're comparing him to a guy like Aiden O'Connell. Like this is like Aiden O'Connell is not making this play on a few levels.
Yeah.
He's not making this guy miss. And 2, he doesn't have the arm strength to throw it on the run like this. So
yeah, and he's tough in the pocket too. I think out of the quarterbacks in this draft, he's the toughest one in there. I think a lot of them. I think Daniels is okay there, but a lot of them. I mean, they just don't have that like I don't care if you're gonna hit me or not type of mentality. Like McCarthy
You could
does
tell
a little bit.
McCarthy was coached by Jim Harbaugh. Oh, he was pumped. Look at this. I like it. He's gotten the horse giddy up right now. Oh yeah, he knew he made a play. All right, we're gonna end with one. I wanted to end with this play because I think it shows off his athleticism the most. Michigan's running a little flea flicker. I mean, we got the one-hander. Okay, can't even set his feet. Still throws it off. I mean, again, like this is just stupid athleticism and arm strength. On the catch, the throw, the gather, like everything.
Yeah, this play is crazy.
I mean, we'll see it from the end zone a little bit better, but I think this ball goes about 30 air yards. And again, he never once had his feet set. Like, lets it go from the 30, catches at the 40. Yeah, about 30 yards.
I just love how it was on the money. I was watching this. It was on the money too.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, man. Like JJ McCarthy, I know the stats aren't pretty, but the film was a lot of fun, man. He throws a lot of dots. If anybody is wondering why there's like JJ McCarthy hype and like wondering what the deal is about this guy, go back and watch that Michigan State game because he was dropping dimes. Like I probably could have done a whole breakdown on that game alone. Like it was really impressive. And again, athletic dude who has a lot of arm strength, going to be younger, which, you know, in this quarterbacks class in this day and age in college football seems to be pretty rare. So definitely a lot of tools to like, but still a little raw for sure.
Yeah. See, you know, and I know, Jayden Daniels is the guy. If they decide to trade up, is probably the guy they're going to go after. But I think McCarthy, who we don't know, like I said, this is really early in the process. We don't know how these guys are going to, shape up. I mean, some of these guys might fall more than we think. I mean, some of these guys might fall in a different spot, and the Raiders don't have to move too much. And that's why they got to do their research. They got to make sure that the NFL really does believe that Jayden Daniels is going to go 3. Like that they need that, they need to make sure that the NFL sees him as that high. Because I mean, if they see JJ high, then all these things change, and then maybe Daniels falls to you, or if something happens with Drake May or something like that, and the NFL teams aren't as high on Drake May as some of the draft Twitter and media is, and he starts to fall. I mean, do you look at Drake May? I mean, do you stay at 13 and maybe you trade up to trade Drake May? I mean, these are all possibilities that are out there right now, and that's why the Raiders, they got to do the research. They really do.
Yeah.
So I really like this quarterback class. I do, because even though Drake May does some things that irks me, I would take him in a second.
You'd take him in the second. The guy that's been considered a top 2 pick for
I take him
for the last 6 months. You take him in the second round. You're really going out on a limb there, Marcus.
I said in a second. I meant in a second.
Gotcha. I'm just going to go with the fact that you put that on Twitter. Marcus would take Drake May in the second.
In the second round?
In a second. Gotcha.
Hey, Emory Hunt had Spencer Rattler at 3. So, and you did that on CBS Sports.com. So if you want to go, I wouldn't be that crazy, actually, if I said that. No, but seriously, like even then, there's some things that I don't like that scare me about him a little bit, but I still take him. He's 6'4", 230 as a cannon. He has these crazy highlight throws. Clemson, he was awful. But he has this one throw against Clemson where he's like fading backwards and like throws it 40 yards on a dime. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know what?
Yeah. He has those plays where you're like, you hate the most. He has a throw like that. And you're like, you know what? Maybe.
He's like, you know what?
Yeah.
It's just, because he's really young too. He's got to play quarterback. He's got to learn how to play quarterback a little better. Actually play the position better instead of just kind of depending on his talent as much. But all these guys I would take all 4 of them. I would take McCarthy. I would take Drake May. I'd take Daniels. I'd take Caleb Williams and be perfectly happy and I'd be excited, to be honest. Like, there's a lot to work with these guys. I think they all have a little something different. I think you got to build around them differently, but the potential is there for all of them. The upside is there for all 4 of them. If all 4 of them have high upside, to me, these are the top 4 guys. I don't know how I'm gonna rank them at the end here, but I'm getting there. But
I think I'm on board with that for sure.
Yeah. It's a legit class, bro. This is legit. I really like it. Like I haven't seen a class like this in a minute where like they're all have tools. They all have athleticism, and besides Caleb Williams, they all have the size. But
Yeah. This is definitely. I mean, it definitely feels like the best quarterback class in a while, and I know people have been saying that for a while. But yeah, I think everything that you said, like there's the fact that there's like 6 guys that were like tossing around as like ideas in the first or second round, and we've kind of like broken down, and I think all 6 we've had plenty that we've been impressed with. We're like, you can see the team falling in love with these guys. Yeah, wonderful set of record for first round quarterbacks this year. Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, because Penix had a bad Senior Bowl to us, but for some reason, like the buzz, I don't know if it's his agent or something, it might be his agent, but the buzz is that he had a great week. So I don't know if he still can find a way to sneak in, and then Seattle has his
Grubbs. Yeah, they just hired their OC, so.
Mm-hmm.
We're in for a wild draft night, man.
We are. But that's what I'm saying. The Raiders have to figure out what's happening around them. They have to figure it out, because if one of these guys is going to fall right to them, they don't need to give up all these assets. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think they need to think about that, because there are some players. It's like Malik Neighbors is nuts, man. Somebody's going to I'm with the Raiders. I think the Raiders should trade him for 4-4. Do not let him go to the Chargers. Do not let that guy play with Justin Herbert. Then we're gonna have a problem. It doesn't matter who their coach is. We have a problem. Neighbors go to the Chargers. So there's just so many good players that people haven't really dived into either. The defensive players, I think they got no buzz during the season because there's so many great quarterbacks in this class.
Yeah,
and I think the teams are start diving into the defensive guys, into the offensive tackles. Those guys going to rise, and then maybe some of these quarterbacks don't go as high as we think, and then maybe they fall to us. So that's what they. But I'm not the GM. That's not my job. That's Tom Telesco's job. So
yeah.
All right. Any last thoughts, Matt?
I mean, not much, man. I think, like you said, hell of a quarterback class. I mean, I don't know much about next year. So I know someone asked me about it, and it's like I'm barely struggling to get through this year's class right now. But yeah, it definitely seems like this is the time to strike to get a quarterback, because, like we said, 6 guys who we could see potentially going in the first round. Not that all 6 will pan out and be worthy of it, but you're not finding that. Usually it's like 1 or 2 guys that are legit. And so,
I mean, because even overall, man, Spencer Rattler's film is not bad, man. I was watching Spencer Rattler too this week. I mean, just because he's having some buzz too coming out of the Senior Bowl, and his film's not bad either.
Yeah.
So
a lot of options for sure.
All right, man. All right, guys, we're out of here. This is kind of the first pre-draft show. I don't know. This will be out before the Super Bowl. You got a Super Bowl pick here, Matt? Do we do this because we're Raiders fans? We can't pick the Super Bowl. Is that because who's playing?
I don't know. I mean, this is like legitimately my nightmare as a kid who grew up in the Bay Area. Like, this is my nightmare Super Bowl matchup. But I don't know. I feel like the Niners should win. I feel like they've got the better team, but Patrick Mahomes, man.
Yeah, I think the Niners pull it out. I just feel like Cam Newton's been talking too much. It's just getting fun.
Cam Newton's. Brock Purdy going to do it. Cam Newton couldn't.
Yeah, and then it's going to be a totally different conversation for him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just been weird. That whole thing has been weird. I don't know. I'm going to quote OJ's sister before we got here, which is awesome.
That's a great way to end the show.
OJ was on Cameron and Mason's podcast because he's a guest on there because they're rappers. Of course, they can bring a murderer on there, right? So
alleged. Don't get us sued.
Alleged. Yeah. Sorry. Thanks, Matt. Alleged. Right. And he was talking about how Cam Newton is just bitter because he still wants to play. And I thought that was what I thought about. He's like,
he's not wrong. Not wrong.
He thinks he's better than
OJ made a good point, but OJ made a good point.
He's like, because Cam's like, I can still play, and if I was on the Niners, we'd be good like that. That's his thought process. Keep it real. All right. Anyways, we're finally out of here, guys. Peace.